I kind of wish that I'd told you sooner.
Yeah.
Because, like, I actually wanted to tell you when I first found out.
Why didn't you?
Because I felt so ashamed. Like, and yet at the same time, I really shouldn't feel ashamed because it's not like, it's really not the end of the world. It's not like I outright failed the essay. It's that I didn't answer the question.
Yeah.
Like, actually, the feedback that I got on the essay was that it was a really interesting topic, but it was just like, I I didn't adhere to the marking requirements. Like, I didn't adhere to the question.
Right.
And so, like, them turning around and being like, oh, well, we're going to give you a second opportunity to submit the assignment is actually really nice.
Yeah.
And it's a great opportunity. Like, the mark that I'll get for the resubmission will be the mark that I'll get.
Yeah.
It's not like capped or anything.
What do you mean it's not capped or anything?
So sometimes, yeah.
They're not like you'll get X% off.
Yeah.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah. Well, I'm sure you've had time to process it because it took however long you needed to tell me, but I want to just take a second to acknowledge how you feel about it. Because I find that, I mean, you and I and everyone else that we know often do this where we go into like, here's all the reasons why I don't need to feel that way. Right?
Yeah.
It sucks. And I'm sorry.
So, yeah, thank you. I haven't even like when I found out that I'd failed it, I didn't even like, it was the middle of the day. I was like in the middle of work meetings. There was like so much going on. I'd just come back from like my final residency. I was like on that high. It was like the week after I came back from my last residency.
That sucks.
I know. And like, I think I just shut down. I don't even think like I allowed myself to have a reaction for it. Where I just kind of went into like, okay, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
And I didn't even just...
What you're good at, which is you went ham at your job.
I was like, well, what do I know that I'm good at? Let me what do I have entire control over?
Can I ask you a question, though?
Yeah.
What does it literally physically feel like in your body? Like, describe that feeling to me. I want to, like, explore that with you.
It feels like there's this massive lump. It's not even a lump. It's more like there's this massive rod of pressure in the back of my throat that kind of continues down my sternum into my heart and into my stomach. Almost like I feel sick. Like I want to vomit, but just no movement, just like this insane pressure rod. Almost like, I suppose it would be like if there was a pipe like filled with water, but the water had nowhere to go and it was just kind of stuck there. And it didn't want to move. And to be fair, like, I probably need to have a really good cry about it just to like...
Yeah, release that tension.
Release that tension and release that pressure. Because even when I told Jono and he was like, are you okay? Do you want to talk about it? Do you want to have a cry about it? All this kind of thing. I was like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. They're going to let me resubmit. It's going to be fine. You know? And then the only thing I was stressing about is like, what is the date that they're going to make me resubmit? Are they going to make me resubmit on the same day as my residency 4 essay? Because then I need to write 2 essays in 4 weeks. And can I do that? Yes, I can. Let me start planning. Like, And then Washington came and it was like, oh, you got to go to Washington for a week. And I still didn't have the date of the resubmission. It was just too much. And then work has just been so intense. And then like tax queries with accepted, but that's fine. Like that's all resolved now. But it's just, there's been so much in the last couple of weeks.
But like, no wonder why you're like avoiding your research then. If that feeling is the feeling that you're carrying around and like physically feeling when you go to think about your research, that's super uncomfortable.
It's really uncomfortable. And funny enough, it's not like about my PhD, like my PhD research proposal. I've like shared it with all my potential supervisors. I've shared it with like my wonderful course convener. She came back with like incredible comments about it and like all these kind of things. And I can't reconcile in my head the person that can write a fabulous PhD research proposal and then someone who fails like a master's coursework assignment. Basically, like it doesn't compute in my brain, and yet it does compute in my brain because obviously it's not like I failed the assignment, it's that I missed the point.
Yeah.
But even now I'm trying to cry and trying to like release that emotion, and I can't do it.
I mean, that's okay. It might just not be timed for it.
Yeah. And yet I feel like I'm totally overreacting. It's like it's just a course grade.
Your course grade, it's about your feeling. Your feeling is not overreaction. It is simply how you feel.
That's true.
Yeah. And if how you feel is nauseous, well, I mean, it makes sense. That sounds like anxiety. It sounds like high expectations. It sounds like stress. It sounds like shame, like you said. Those feelings are not things that we have to get rid of. They're allowed to be present in our life and in our bodies. You don't have to do anything about them right now.
I think you're right. I think it's me just being in survival mode.
Yeah.
Until the end of the year when I can like submit this research paper, my residency 4 research paper, which I feel like I had a great breakthrough today and I actually feel like inspired by. But submitting the PhD applications, and finalizing these projects for work, which I know will happen at the end of the year. Oh, it's just too much. It's too much. And yet I have no way to like recourse it. There's nothing I can do. I've just got to keep going. Like there's nothing I can palm off. There's nothing I can shift. This is just like the reality of it. And it's too much. It's too much to deal with. But I can't even cry about it. I'm like, my body is in such survival mode right now that it's probably going to come to like mid-December where I'm going to have a little bit of breathing room and I don't even know what's going to happen. Like I'm probably going to have like a severe breakdown.
Well, like I said, you don't have to cry, right?
But it's so unusual. Like I myself, I know me and I know how I react to this kind of stuff. I should have been bawling my eyes out about now. And I can feel like the tears are there, but they're not. Like it's so easy for me to cry. I cry all the time. You know this. And yet right now, the time I should be crying, I'm not crying. I cannot bring myself to cry.
I get it. I have been where you are right now, and it's like the way that I feel when that happens is like I have blinders on.
Yeah.
And I'm like I have these blinders on and like a shield around my body that I'm like feelings that come my way, I'm bouncing them off that shield because I'm like I have this tunnel vision and I have to like just focus on what's right in front of me because I don't have any other option.
So I failed. It has been weighing on me for a really long time, and I wanted to share with you what happened because I don't think that this aspect of academia is talked about enough, and I really want to bring it to the light so that the stigma around academia is broken down. And as always, I always want to be transparent and open with you all. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cait and I am a current master's student at the University of Oxford in Literature and Arts. And a couple of weeks ago, I found out that I had failed one of my assignments. I've been keeping it in. It has been weighing on me for a really, really long time, and there are a number of factors around it that I'll talk about in a second, but essentially the purpose of this video is actually just to raise the awareness that failure does not mean failure. Failure actually means progress, and I'll talk about why that is in a second. There were a number of things that were going on around the time that I was writing this assignment. Firstly, I felt really, really disconnected from the subject that I was writing about. I didn't actually feel very comfortable writing about the subject. It was the first time that I was writing an art history paper, and I had struggled to find time to meet the tutor because they were out during their June-July holidays for most of the writing period. I'd asked for an extension. I did not feel very, very confident writing this paper. And in the end, the feedback that I got is that the paper itself didn't answer the question that was posed. So it wasn't actually that the paper was bad, it was that the paper didn't answer the question, and that's why it resulted in a failure. The university has been so fabulous to me. They have basically come back and they have said that I am allowed to resubmit this paper in the new year, and that whatever mark that I'll get for that resubmission will be the mark that will be shown on my record. I think it has meant so much to me to have the supportive program that I have, to have the supportive space in my program to be able to make these mistakes, and also to be able to rectify them in a way that I think is really going to be beneficial for me, especially since I am applying for a PhD. During that time, I was also setting up the new Accepted Society business and organizing the symposium. There was so much going on at my day job where we were completing an audit for the European Commission. It was the first time that this audit was being done, and there was a lot of factors that were going on at this time that I just felt myself. I just knew when I submitted this paper, that I wouldn't do well in it. And yet we hinge so much on academic validation that when I got the mark back and when I got the feedback and irrespective of the fact that I got the feedback that the paper wasn't bad, but that it just didn't answer the question, I dug myself into this really, really dark hole and this really dark space. And that has been the space that I have been in for the last 6 weeks. I've been grappling with a sense of shame and panic about this because of academic validation, how it was going to affect my PhD applications. And as a result of this, plus an absolutely insane increase in my Google workload, where one of my colleagues has gone out on maternity leave. So I picked up her roles, or I'm doing her role in addition to my role. The pressure of trying to write another master's assignment with my confidence being knocked from this last assignment and having just insane writer's block and writer's paralysis because of that, while also trying to do my PhD applications, I shut myself down entirely, and I have not been very present. I haven't been a very good friend to all my friends that have reached out to me, and I haven't responded to them. Know that I see you, know that I'm here, but I had no space. I have the space now. I had no space then. And I haven't been a very good friend. I haven't been a good family member. I haven't been a good wife. I haven't been a good daughter. And even when I tried in this time to reach out to one of my closest friends, Cait, and talk to her about this, it felt so weird because I could not express my emotions adequately. I'd shut myself down entirely because of this, and because of everything else that had clearly just built itself up and up and up onto this insane stress that I was having. But in the last 2 days, things have shifted and things have changed, and I want to talk about that to provide some context. Basically, I had my work Q4 check-in with my manager. My manager is, to this day, the most wonderful manager that I have ever had in my entire life. I absolutely love and adore her. I respect her. I think she is so phenomenal. And in the Q4 check-in, she said to me, my work is great. Everything that I produce is great. But she can see, because she knows me, she can see that I am not happy. As she said that, and as she recognized that, someone else looking at me and saying to me, you are not happy, I immediately started to break down. I finished the call with her with a very, very shaky voice and tears kind of welling in my eyes. And her and I kind of ended the call on this view of, let's talk about a space in which I could exist in the company where I would be happy. And she is truly phenomenal. She said she doesn't want to lose me because of the work and the value that I produce, but she doesn't want me to be in a position where I'm unhappy. And I truly, truly appreciate that from her. I then, for the first time in probably 6 weeks since I got the news that of my assignment, I completely broke down. I broke down, and it felt so cathartic. It felt so cathartic to finally release all those emotions that had been built up, all the pressure that had been built up inside me, that I have just kept hidden and kept in to maintain this facade of I had it all together. It just became clear to me in that moment as I was sort of breaking down that I had been trying to hold myself together for so long. I've been afraid of failing on any front, on my Google job, on my master's, for Accepted, for YouTube, that I just never allowed myself the time and the space to feel that I was beyond burnt out and emotionally wrecked. Yesterday, I attended one of our Accepted Society sessions. It's a session that I run. It's called the Thursday Brainstorming Session. And essentially, it's a vocalization session where you come in and you can either vocalize a part of your research that you're really struggling to kind of figure out and you need to soundboard it against people, or you can come into that session and you can basically vocalize how you are struggling within your academic journey and you can find solidarity with the group. And I attended that brainstorming session thinking to myself, as I always do with those sessions, that I'm just going to sit there and facilitate. But I was in there with two of the accepted members that that sit in a number of my sessions, Christy and Laura. And a big shout out to the two of them, because I don't think I would be making this video if it wasn't for them. But I sat in the session with them and we started talking about how we were all sort of struggling this side of the year, that the year had kind of caught up to us. We were all feeling really tired and really burnt out, and that we were really struggling to find the motivation that we needed to get to the end of the year. I took a chance at being my authentic self, and I opened up to these two wonderful women and told them everything. I told them about me failing. I told them about the struggles I was having keeping up with work. I told them about the fact that running a business is hard, and going at it, being the person that's responsible for a community, for an online community, is really, really hard. And that I had been giving so much of myself to work, to trying to keep up this image of keeping it all together. And the cracks weren't just starting to show, but the cracks were breaking everything apart, and I was breaking apart. All right, I just had to relocate quickly because my husband is on a work call. I didn't want to disturb him, so I'm happy to come and sit in the bedroom and continue talking about this. And I can't even remember where I really left off. And even though Laura and Christy were so far away from me, I felt such a comfort and support and love from them that just was so medicinal. I cannot tell you how wonderful that session was, just to relieve that burden that I'd been carrying around and I'd been holding on to for weeks and weeks and weeks, just trying to keep myself together and clearly failing quite miserably. But I had that session, that brainstorming session with them, where I told them everything, and I felt so great about it. It felt like this massive weight had been lifted off my shoulders. And then I ran the writing group session later on that day, where it was just a focused writing group session. I block the session out. Usually I block the session out of my work calendar so I can actually focus on writing during this time, during the time that I'm running the writing session. And usually that block gets overridden by urgent meetings and things like that. But because it was Thanksgiving and there were a lot of people out of office, that session was just respected. And I finally got over the paralysis of writing during that session. And I ended up writing close to 600 words in the 2-hour long writing session, and having people there to support me, to congratulate me, and to reach out to me felt so great. Furthermore, I also shared basically everything that I've spoken about in this video. I shared it as a post on the Accepted Society community group, and the response to that was so incredible and so beautiful and so supportive and so warm and comforting that I forget that community is there for those times that it's really, really difficult. So I just want to say a massive shout out to the Accepted Society community, the Accepted Society group. I usually say, I know I'm biased, but actually in this instance, I'm not going to say that because I know firsthand experience that trusting yourself to the community will help so, so much. And it's what helped me in this time. And I feel so proud to be the person that has facilitated this community and to be able to then rely on them when I needed them, and for them to come through has just meant the world to me. I wanted to also shout out the fact that if you are going through a difficult time at the moment, maybe you have not done as well as you wanted to. Maybe you are finding yourself feeling burnt out at the end of the year, and maybe you're finding yourself struggling with the overwhelming feeling of stress and pressure and just everything kind of piling itself on top of you at this time of year. I want you to know that you are seen, you are valued, and you are heard. And if you ever need a space in which to exist, this is the space for you. This is the community for you. Reach out, talk to people, reach out to me, reach out to friends, to family. No one is going to help you unless they know what's going on. So this is just a sort of final wrap up to this video to basically say failing is a part of learning, and your support structures are there to support you and to help you and for you to lean on. But you need to help yourself first in order to take serious advantage of those support structures. So understand that these mishaps, that these setbacks, they all happen for a particular reason. And I think my reason was because I knew that I submitted that essay and I did not submit a good essay, and I had wished for more time and more space to create a good piece of research, and the universe gave me that, and I am really, really grateful for that. So I'm going to wrap up this sort of emotional vlog because I am feeling a bit emotional, and I just wanted to say a massive thank you to this community. I found out yesterday when I had my breakdown that I had reached 4,000 followers, and there's 4,000 of us here today, and I just want to say a huge thank you. Thank you for following me. Thank you for continuing to support me throughout this journey, and thank you for being consistent here. I cannot say how much I appreciate and love all of you. Thank you so, so much. And I am going to go into this next stage. I still have so much on my plate. Work is not easing up until maybe March next year, but I have my next research paper due, and I have my next research paper due next week, so I will be vlogging the completion of that research paper. So do subscribe if you want to see more academic content. And we have now launched accepted merchandise. This is one of the sweatshirts that you can purchase. This one is the Accepted Scholar sweatshirt. We have a number of other ones, which I actually have here. We have a number of other sweatshirts, and we have stickers and tumblers and mugs. If you're a member of my regular 5 a.m. club, there are 5 a.m. sweaters and there are 5 a.m. mugs. And I would love to see this community adopting the 5 a.m. mentalities. So please do go check that out. I'll leave the link in the description box below. And if you feel like you need an academic community, I will leave my Accepted Society referral code for a discount for 15% off to join Accepted Society. Give it a trial, give it 7 days, see how you like it. And I can promise you that this community has changed my life and will continue to do so. And I feel so lucky to have found this wonderful group of academics who are all going through similar journeys, or who are all going through different kinds of journeys, who are all going through different kinds of journeys, who are all going through different trials, but who all find their solidarity and their community within Accepted. So massive shout out to everyone there. Thank you to you for being here. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for supporting me. And I will leave with a quote that Laura said to me in the session, in the brainstorming session, that will forever stick in my mind whenever I feel myself retreating into that hole again, where she said, "It's okay to dig that hole. That doesn't mean you deserve to stay in the hole." Thanks everyone for being here. I hope I'll see you soon. Bye.